China certainly had a lot of headwinds to cope with in 2025, but in the end, hitting its goal for economic growth. Two important factors, manufacturing and exports leading the way. Talk about 2025 and really what helped this economic engine to continue to churn along.
As you pointed out, I think the brightest spot of the economy has been manufacturing and exporting. And that's really remarkable given the uncertainties with the trade frictions in the world. On the other hand, there are trends that certainly economists and the government are looking at very closely. Very importantly, if you look at the growth quarter on quarter, clearly there's been a downward trend from the first quarter to the fourth quarter. And if you look at sectors, obviously domestic demand and consumption has been a weak spot. What that means is clearly the government is planning on a new round of stimulus, if you will, and also 2026 being the first year of the 15th five-year plan, you will see more structural changes. And one of the keys is to make the economy more oriented toward domestic demand and consumption.
Let's talk a bit more about how China got where it is now. How troubling, firstly, how Trump's tariffs been and all the drama that the White House really is bringing to global markets. And I want to get back a bit to the manufacturing and the exports, because President Xi, China's leadership, really made it a priority to develop, manufacture, and export high-tech items. Have they been successful at that? Is that the reason? EVs, solar power, things like that. Is that leading the way?
That's clearly a very important segment. I would also emphasize that because there's a lot of talk about how China achieved this record high level of trade surplus of $1.2 trillion. Because a lot of people, including experts, are claiming that this is done due to the RMB depreciation. That's clearly not the case. We know that the RMB actually appreciated against the dollar. I would attribute the very strong performance of the export sector to two factors, both related to Chinese companies and entrepreneurs. First, as you said, these new sectors like EV, solar panels, and we anticipate that new sectors like robotics will continue to be China's very strong sector, in the sense that the Chinese companies are very good at, as soon as we're coming to mass production, the Chinese companies are very good at producing high quality products at low price. What that means is the Chinese products, including the high-end products, will stay very globally competitive in the years to come. That's number one. And number two is you also need to praise the Chinese exporting companies in the sense that they reduced the reliance on the US market. Actually, this trend started in 2018, as we recall that was President Trump 1.0 in the White House.
Right.
I would combine these two things as the number one reason why our export has been such a wonderful performance over the last year.
And you talked about it just a bit earlier. China's growth in this last quarter dropped to 4.5%. There are a couple of things that have been dragging Beijing down, China down. One, this internal consumption. Secondly, housing. How do you see this moving forward? Is stimulus going to be enough to really move the needle?
As you pointed out, in fact, I would add another point that the weakness in the housing sector is one of the main contributors to weak urban consumption. And this is very important. If you look at the balance sheet of Chinese urban households, even with 4 years of drop in the real estate market, housing, real estate property remains by far the number one asset item on Chinese household. That's very different from the US, where investment in the stock market has a much higher fraction. So the good news is that we saw that the central government clearly has made stabilizing the housing market as one of the key initiatives during the new year.
Right, right.
And there are actually signs that in cities like Shanghai, where I live, there are signs that the housing market is actually stabilizing. So with another round of stimulus of the housing market and also for the aggregate economy,
Right.
if we can see the top tier cities like Shanghai stabilize in the first half, we might be hopeful to see that most of the other cities can stabilize by the end of the year. And that's going to do a lot in terms of leading to recovery in the consumption sector.
Jun Qian, we're kind of running out of time, but real quickly, how does China's growth compare with other major economies globally right now?
Clearly, China's growth has been the highest among the large economies, with the exception of India. Obviously, we know that India is less than half of the size of the Chinese economy. And the other thing that's very important is since 2008, China's growth is not good for itself. It actually contributed significantly to global growth. And you know, so that's why for the global economy,
Right.
Everybody wants China to be on this sustainable growth path, because that's again, that's going to drive global growth.
The accelerator that keeps it moving.